How's it going, everyone? So today we're going to be talking about Hebrew and the spiritual awakening that can happen through learning this language, as well as combining it with the spirituality that actually connects to this language, which would be the Judaism and the Kabbalah. So basically, as one would study Sanskrit and potentially get further into Hindu philosophy, and I also believe in Hinduism. I actually call myself a Hindu, but when I started to learn Hebrew language, I had a spiritual awakening to the truths of Kabbalah, the truths of Judaism, and this was a very massive shift in my consciousness. And I recently discovered the high vibrations of this source of spirituality, and also the truth of this, things that vibrate at enlightenment just are. So in essence, Hebrew just is, it's a language that linguistically, gets us to a higher frequency, and we can really be in tune with the ultimate consciousness through Hebrew. So my spiritual awakening had to do with, being at one with the process of learning this language, and also to be at one with the spiritual fountain, the spiritual spring of information, of consciousness that comes with the Kabbalah, the reading the text, etc. So right now I am reading the Sefer Yetzirah. I'm very interested in learning more about Kabbalah, and really seeing what sort of information Jewish mysticism has to offer. And I think it's so beautiful when spirituality and linguistics have this connection together, right? Where just like Sanskrit and Hinduism, this connection between Hebrew and Judaism and Kabbalah is really quite there, because the text, there's something about the language, this language of life, as it's called by many, is something in which life itself needed in order to come into being. It was a language in which the creator, in which other creators use to breathe out this life, in whatever, and it's done simply by speaking this language, Hebrew. It's so beautiful. And so essentially, my awakening started with the first day, just getting into this language, and it awakened pure presence, pure consciousness, being in tune with what is. And for other people that might be difficult. I've had many arguments with people about what is, right? It's like, because their consciousness, they can't comprehend, or they can't even fathom this ineffable feeling of what is, right? And the fact that I've been sort of realizing that Kabbalah is very true, actually, and sacred geometry and astrology and so many concepts that we think about actually have roots in Kabbalah. And so the idea is that this spiritual information, such as like sacred geometry or astrology, these things, we find out through Kabbalah that these things just are, they just exist. And the thing is that this drive, is saving humanity, right? So I've come into presence with my sort of role as one of the incarnates of Jesus, basically. I really believe that I am one of the 144,000, and there are many people like that, and perhaps this number is not set to literal 144,000. This could be 144 million at some point, right? Because we awaken that inside of us. This consciousness is awakened. So, for example, the idea is that the reason why Jews as well as Hindus, like, so for example, anything that vibrates at salvation of humanity. So, for example, Kabbalah, Hinduism, these two, Judaism as a whole vibrates at peace, but the Kabbalah, which is a part of Judaism, is the mystical, enlightening aspects of Judaism, which which that's another interesting thing. Judaism and Hinduism both have this. The texts, they keep on going and going and going. It's like infinity in essence, right? Because of the fact that things don't end, they just keep on going and going. And that's something cool, that rabbis can keep writing more text and keep expanding, the consciousness that's all up there, the ultimate consciousness, right? The infinite amount of things that we can learn. And so the idea is that the drive is to save humanity, right? So these two things both have a drive to do that, right? And so in essence, when Jews talk about bringing this density down, like bringing heaven to earth, is the idea that Hindus have in essence too. So, so why I started to awaken these things and what was happening is that I was really feeling it. Like I was really feeling like, the spreading Hebrew or Sanskrit or ideas of being present and aware and saving humans through these kind of conversations was my idea, right? Sometimes though, when the things that are for the people that believe in Judaism. So for example, even though I don't call myself I don't practice this religion, but I am learning about it, and I believe that it's true. Like the things that it says are true, because if Kabbalah vibrates at 720 enlightenment, right? Then that means that is, right? So the life view is what is, right? And so when we make the connection that something vibrates at the life view of what is, then to say that it's not is just simply not what it is. And so the idea is that we start to realize that Judaism and the Kabbalah are very true things. We realize this through how the Torah predicts events such as the Holocaust. And I was watching a video talking about how one of the aspects of Kabbalah is to predict the future, although it could be bad karma in essence too, because of the fact that you can repeat it again, if you're wrong. So for example, this could be not good unless you're extremely psychic. Like if you were like a complete, master, maybe you could predict it. Although I thought it was simply just very fascinating that the Holocaust was predicted because of the fact that we took the numbers of chapters, linking it up to some, years of, whatever. That's just mind-blowing to me. That's ineffable, really. And so I was just thinking about how things like that, they really do. They really kind of prove, like, the existence that these things are, that these things just are. And when someone really starts to embody that feeling that these things just are and whatever, instead of running away from maybe our ego wanting to say that it's not right or that these things aren't right, because we'll want to assume that it can't possibly be right, like there has to be something else that's up there that's more correct or whatever. And it's not that it's more correct than something else, it's just simply that it just is the way it is, right? Like, and so these were the awakenings that I was having, and I was thinking to myself, holy crap, like these languages really do save humanity. Like Hebrew really is a language of life, really gets us present with each other, and I've really noticed that it's been just like the Altai language that I like to speak as well. It's so similar to that. The feeling is very present. It's very ineffable. It's just unbelievable. It's just quite awesome. It's just like, what is it? The place you always wanted to be, and when you realized that there was a way to be there all the time, you were just like, really? I had no idea. Like, so now I don't have to, do this and that to be there all the time. I could just, start learning about these things and, align my soul to, the things that vibrate at that frequency, right? So in essence, right, it's like, people should start thinking about things in terms of energy and frequency, right? So for example, what spiritual beliefs vibrate at the highest, right? I started learning about Druze people today, and I thought that they were very fascinating because of their mustaches and their hats, right? And I was really what was very fascinating about the Druze were that they reminded me of Altai, people from Altai, right, with their hats. And so I had this idea that maybe their, faith was actually also at the enlightenment frequency, just like with the Altai language, because I made that connection. And one of the reasons why I thought that was because they don't, apparently they don't allow Druze to marry non-Druze. when I thought about that for a second, I thought maybe there's some sort of cosmic reason for that, and whatever. I'm getting off track there, but my point is that, you know, things up there, you know, people don't realize that they're here actually, right? So in essence, you know, the like enlightenment is a frequency that things on earth here have, right? And when we always think about enlightenment as something there, it's not that. Whenever you're thinking about there, you're not here. It's just an illusion, you know. Really, it's quite simply that there are things that vibrate at that here actually. And so, you know, that's why I was so excited when I bought my ticket to Israel, because I was thinking to myself, wow, like I'm finally, you know, going to be speaking a language in a country that has, you know, a higher vibrational frequency linguistically and spiritually than maybe other parts of the world that are sort of lacking in this way right now, in terms of they can't get to that place right now because they're just not there yet, you know. And so or here, they're just not here yet. So in essence, that's mostly what I would like to, you know, say about the awakening. You know, I've been fascinated by this language, you know, the Kabbalah, the 231 gates, the 72 names for God. And here's another really crazy thing, right? So we have 72 names for God in Hebrew, right? In the Kabbalah. Now, this is really crazy, right? Because the frequency is 720. The Kabbalah's frequency, 720. So this is very similar to Hebrew, the language of life, being at the frequency of 700, the first number at enlightenment. Now, why is it like this? It has to simply just do, obviously, with 7 binyamin, right, for the verbs of Hebrew, right, or 7 being the number of completion, or all these different things, right? There's some sort of reason, right? Even if you listen to Hebrew songs, sometimes you can go like this, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2. It just goes like that. It's in patterns of 7. You can hear it 7. Like it just goes like that, and that's because of the frequency of the language, you know. And so, in essence, you can really feel that, you know, that frequency being, you know, radiated out, you know, because of the it's all set, you know. Things that are in that frequency of enlightenment just are. So that means that they're just set. So, for example, like, this language has always been like that. It's always been something with 7, right? 7 binyamin. And then the same thing with Kabbalah, 72 names for God, 720, the frequency of 720 on the Hawkins scale, right? There is some sort of number correlation. And I don't understand. Like, it blows my mind, and that's because it's so beyond understanding, you know. Like, that how could these things, like geometry, sacred geometry, these things just, you know, exist, you know, like, and that they've always existed like that, you know. It's so mind-blowing to think about and whatever. And I just think it's so awesome, you know, to really think about like the most mind-blowing things in life, you know. And so anyway, so yeah, I really was being awakened, and I am still, you know, in the process of awakening, because what is it? The Kabbalah is so rich, you know. I was so surprised learning about the concept of past lives and karma, you know, from the perspective of Kabbalah, or, you know, learning about, you know, the, what is it, oneness with Creator, or what is it, the divine spark, or, you know, are we God? You know, all these, you know, kind of concepts, and really seeing it and hearing it from that, you know, Kabbalah perspective. And it was so beautiful, and it really just it really opened my soul up to, you know, what was, you know, possible, and maybe it opened up my soul to, and the soul, I guess, right, in the sense that we change matter, right, change the density, bring down densities, right, to this density that affect. This is part of Kabbalistic magic, in essence, right? But there is a dark side to it, of course, and when I started to understand that, and when I started to research that, I started to realize that that's because that's the shadow, right? And when you are aligned with light, and when you are in light, then then you feel your opposite. Okay, so that's why Harry, you know, could always feel Voldemort, or why Frodo, you know, always felt Sauron. You know, it's because we feel, you know, when we're in light, we can feel darkness wherever it is, and we feel, for everything when we feel everything for what it is, then we start to be able to easily identify where darkness came from. If the darkness was caused by something, or if it was caused by an aspect of certain things within certain things that are actually completely in people's subconsciouses, maybe they don't even understand or really even realize it, such as the language we speak. If the language is aggressive, such as English language, then how then the aggression when something is said, but that what is if what is so ineffable to somebody else. If you're not speaking about things that are from something that vibrates at the life view of what is, then you're going to be more likely to doubt if it really is, right? So this was something that I realized about saying things that are ineffable, that just are, talking from English, a language that's has a life view of wanting to control, then that is what's kind of the issue, right? So, well, part of the awakening will be linguistically that humans really are struggling with the English language, and that, it takes an extremely grounded person to be able to sort of bypass the truth of the frequency of English, right? Like, you have to be really like meditating all day, or like you just have to it has to be something like, because I really feel the frequency of English. So anyways, well, these are the things that I've been thinking about. The awakening that I've had through Hebrew language and getting into Kabbalah and learning more about Judaism has been quite a blessing. And so anyways, I will continue to learn about it and also make more videos about these things. So anyways, thank you all so much for watching my video about my spiritual awakening that I've had through Hebrew language. Actually, there's so much more things to talk about, but I've already talked a lot, and so it could go on and on and on, because really it is infinity, guys. It just is infinity. It's so ineffable, really, to be able to, have something in your consciousness that could keep on going and going and going, and you just feel that it's just like that, and that yeah. And so, at some point, right, the mystery is left to you to discover next, and you've heard me talk about it, so now you can, if you feel like it should be the way that I'm saying for you, then feel free to join. Feel free to join the salvation of humanity with me, and with millions and hopefully billions of other people, and it'll be awesome. So anyways, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys later. Goodbye.